you just like if you look on the screen, it'll show like if you pull up the stream on your laptop or something, you yourself could see like what people are saying if you want. It's up to you.
That's okay. You just tell me.
Oh,
I'll answer whatever they want.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some water real quick.
Okay.
I'm back. Yo, it's so hot. Yeah, it's freaking. Is it hot up there? Oh man, I hate allergies. Yeah. Showing the guns. Lucky you, I get them all the time. It's bad. Like I'm always either like, this whole COVID shit. I was like, am I sick or do I have allergies? But it's I get them really bad. So, but let me I'm just gonna start this up real quick, and I'm gonna go on mute, and then I'll be right back. All right, y'all. What's good, everyone? What's good? What's good? Welcome to the first episode of the Square the Bear podcast. We out here today. We have a special guest named Mike Bazzel. Let me thank you guys for being here. I want to first, this is our first episode of the new podcast we call Slim Thick. Tweaks is doing his own thing. I'm doing my own thing, and here we are. We have a really special guest today, so I'm really excited. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started, and give me some hype in the chat. Get my boy Mike Bazzel. So a proper introduction. Honestly, he's a very, very important person in boxing. So make sure to give him some love, and all his socials are gonna be down here. So make sure to check those out. Oh, it's not working. Oops. Let me see. Well, it wouldn't be I'm back, by the way. It wouldn't be a thing if I didn't have no technical difficulties on my freaking thing. Like I always have them, but... Let me see. Okay. That's so whack. Oh, wait. That's why. There it is. Okay. So, yeah, these are... Mike Bazzel socials, you know, Bazzel Strength, Aloha Time Boxing, Matchroom Boxing, and Top Rank, which he helps out with. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Oh, actually, oof, I almost forgot. This would have been terrible. So I almost started it without the desktop audio. So basically, I would have been able to hear you, but everyone else wouldn't have been able to hear you, which would have been pretty upsetting, to be honest with you. But yeah, Bazzel, you know, thanks for joining us. Honestly, I'm super excited. Everyone here knows that, like, I'm a huge boxing enthusiast and I love, like, the sport. I'm always trying to put people on to, like, fights, and, you know, they're always like, oh, damn, I'm glad you invited me to watch this fight because it was awesome. I forgot which fight it was. I think it was one of the fights that I showed, like, my community was I think it was Burchell versus Valdez, and then yeah, and then Wilder versus Fury, the third one. Yeah. So
Wonderful.
I'm really trying to, you know, get people into boxing. It's a wonderful sport, and I really think that, you know, I don't know, people are like, oh, it's dead, this and that, but I just think it just, you know, people tend not to know people unless they're like hype, you know, which it's like, I'm a big sneakerhead, as you can tell in the back. I love sneakers, and it's like same thing I tell people, just because something doesn't have a lot of hype behind it doesn't mean it's not valuable, you know, or you can pull it off. But yeah, so, you know, Bazzel, tell us about yourself, you know, tell us, like, you know, how you became a cutman. You know, you're one, like, first of all, you're a cutman, which are basically like the biggest unsung heroes in boxing, because, you know, you guys, if it's not for you, if there's a big cut, fights don't go on without you guys. Like, yeah, but
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. Usually we're not known until we're needed, you know? So that happens. And then not every fighter gets cut, you know, not all of them have. Some top guys get cut a lot. Depends on the level that they're competing at, you know. I work with Stitch Duran, who's probably the most well-known cut man, famous one in the world. And we've been working together for 2 years with Top Rank. We worked in the bubble starting in March of 2020, and then June of 2020 until now. And you know, he's like a mentor. Learned a lot from him. Continue to learn all the time. And we talk about it, like when we're matched against, you know, he's in one corner, I'm in the other, or fights. We always say, or even fights we're not working, he'll say, hey, high probability of cuts on this one, high probability of swelling. This one's going to be tough, you know. So it doesn't always work out that way, but you always want to be prepared. You have to be prepared no matter what. From before the bell sounds, you have to be ready.
so when you say high probability of cuts, do you mean, like, is that because people have been cut before and those cuts tend to resurface, or?
Yep, that's one factor, but also it's a highly competitive fight where because sometimes, you know, I think what you mentioned, boxing is dead. You know, people do think that sometimes. I mean, they've thought that since boxing has been around, you know. But the thing is, sometimes we see fights that are not necessarily, it's guys up and coming. So they're not necessarily, say it's a 60-40 fight. One fighter's 60% chance of winning, the other fighter's 40. We see a lot of those. Sometimes we see 70-30, right?
Yeah.
UFC, for example, there's 50-50s. A lot of 50-50s. And there's so many ways to lose in an MMA fight. Sometimes it's over in seconds of the first round. From, you know, you see these guys, you know, they're prepared, you know, they're well skilled. They've trained for weeks, for years of their life. One mistake. Look at Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor. One of the most highly anticipated fights in MMA. It ended in 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like that. Aldo threw a left hook. Southpaw Conor McGregor threw his left hand. His left hook landed. Conor McGregor was cut. He was cut from Jose Aldo's left hook. He got hit, but his punch was landed cleaner and landed more flush, and it was over. So,
Wait,
you
so
know,
so not just sorry, not to stop, not to like interrupt, but actually,
no,
I didn't know that. So Jose Aldo's punch, the one he threw the hook, it actually did impact. It actually had an impact.
McGregor was cut.
Holy
Watch.
shit!
So it's the thing, and obviously we see early knockouts in boxing, obviously, but sometimes I think when there's a 50-50 fight, Burchell Valdez, you mentioned Oscar Valdez and Burchell, that was a 50-50 fight, right? Very high probability that both these guys are going to land on each other. And that's the key. You want to be ready, 70-30, 60-40. Sometimes the guy that's not as good, he's kind of an opponent, but he's kind of helping to build that fighter's experience early in his career. You tend to get a headbutt because they're not as skilled.
Yeah.
Like Top Rank, for example, has signed a lot of Olympians, a lot of high heralded amateurs out of the United States. Torres, the heavyweight.
Yep, Torres.
Shushu, Bruce Carrington. Charlie Sheehy. Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis's brother. I mean, these guys are heralded. They fought all over the world, the best. Now they're professional. They're not competing against guys that are as good. So there's a high probability of getting headbutted, elbowed. It's more awkward fighters they're fighting. So you have to be prepared. You need a good cutman. You need someone who can take care of that injury when and if it happens.
That makes sense. So yeah, so basically it has to do with their styles too, not just like.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that's I didn't think about it like that. And it's like in video games, I mean, it's not the same at all, but like they say that in certain games when people are ranked lower, they have like they're the most surprising ones because their styles are unorthodox. So same thing, they probably come in like, dirty and just, crazy, and they're just ready to basically do anything, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know that.
There's a you can hear interviews after fights when guys go the distance or with an opponent that maybe wasn't as heralded, and they say, oh, the guy was really awkward. He surprised me. He moved different. He moved away from me. Hey, that's all styles.
Yeah.
Awkwardness is a style. Not everyone. I always use this example in martial art. You take 20 students, whatever belt level they are, yellow belt, green belt, black belt, brown, whatever. They're all in their gis. You say, everybody, front fist, rah. They all look the same. Rah. Kick, rah. Everything is like uniform, snapping, boom. Take 20 boxers. Line them up. Everybody jab. Whop. If everything looks different. Everybody throw a right hand, throw a cross. It all looks different. Throw a hook. All delivered in a different way. It's not the same. So everyone has strengths. We can look back in fights because boxing has been around for over 100 years. So you can look back and kind of say, wow, that guy fights a little like Jake LaMotta, or his style similar to Sugar Ray Leonard, or that guy's a little bit, he's like a Benitez defensively. He's like, whatever. You can say those things because we can pull from past fighters.
Yeah.
But everybody really, as a boxer, has his own unique style.
So just to like recap, because some people, they don't know about boxing and stuff. Like basically, what you're saying is that when, let's say that someone has a style of throwing a certain punch, each gym kind of has their different fundamentals, different styles. So just because something's a jab doesn't mean it's the same jab because it's coming from a different. Okay.
Yeah, and it depends. The guy could be tall. He could be a shorter guy. He
Mm-hmm.
could be might be longer. His arms might be short. He might have a very. He might be an orthodox fighter is left-handed forward,
Yeah.
right-handed, right, but he might be a lefty. So his left jab and hook might be devastating. I think Oscar De La Hoya was a lefty that fought orthodox. That's why his left hook and left jab was so good.
That was a weird. He had a weird style, huh? Like he fought like that. That's
Well, and Hagler was a righty. He was like but he fought southpaw. That's why his lead right jab and right hook were so devastating.
yeah.
Because he was a righty. He was like, I'm a righty, so but I'm a southpaw. I mean, I'm an orthodox, not a southpaw. So it's like, but you can switch. I mean, it's like those things happen. The way guys are taught, there's a variety of every punch. There's different angles of jabs. There's different angles of your cross or leads. You can throw your backhand, let's say traditional, whatever you're talking about, a right hand, right cross, but you can also throw a right lead, which is a lot straighter. It's not the same as sort of across the body. There's overhand rights from the back. There's over the top shots. There's body shots, uppercuts.
There's a lot, and that's why it's called the sweet science, right? Because they're just
and angles, the way you move your feet. Some guys are fast. Some guys are balanced with their feet. Some guys are too wide a stance where they're more susceptible to throwing one shot at a time. Where if you're more of a balanced leg to legs, 60-40 shifting of the weight of a fight of your your legs, you can throw combinations a lot easier because you're set up, your legs set the the left hand, right hand, right throws better. Instead of a wider stance, more unbalanced, you throw one shot like that. There's so many factors to boxing. People say now that those guys are fighting each other, sometimes like let's go back McGregor Mayweather, for example. You hear McGregor going, "Oh my God, I'm gonna box? That's nothing. That's just one. I just have to deal with hands.
yeah.
I don't choking me, kicking me in the face, taking me down and beating me out and choking me out. Oh my God, this is gonna be easy." But it's not. Now, the same way. I mean, if they would have fought MMA rules, it would have been the other way, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, because there's so many other disciplines to that. But it's still, even though it's not, it's one discipline of the several that a mixed martial arts fighter has to learn. Boxing is just one of the disciplines that they can use.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a very difficult thing to really excel at. You can to excel, to be at a high level, very, very difficult.
And we actually do have some questions. People are really interested. But first things first, I actually saw this mentioned the other day, and I thought it was super interesting. But I mean, do you feel like so boxing, you're learning like a style, right? You're learning. It's like in MMA, it's like
You're
like
fundamentals of a particular, art form.
yeah.
Boxing. You're learning how to move, how to throw combinations and move and stuff.
Do you think that I have my opinion, but I just want you're a professional, like a lot more about this. You have a lot more experience. Do you feel like in MMA? This is a two-part. First things first. Have you done MMA fights too? Like, have you been a cutman in MMA?
Man,
okay, cool.
One of the worst cuts I ever had was an amateur MMA fight.
Holy shit!
It was uncomfortable. It took 30 minutes to clean the ring from the blood.
Holy shit!
Fight was stopped.
It was.
He's a heavyweight. I still know his name, CJ Levecki. If you're anywhere, love you, man. Miss you, dude. He was a great guy. Amateur, so they didn't wear headgear. You can't wear headgear in MMA.
Yeah.
They hired us. It was very early in my career where I would do these fights just to get experience because, oh my God, the cuts were just nothing like you get in boxing.
Yeah.
And the thing was, so CJ was cut across the nose. split right over his nose, bridge of his
Mm-hmm.
nose. His nose was literally hanging. It wasn't even, but the fight was going on. And in boxing, you're on your feet.
Yeah.
So the goes this way, okay? But in MMA, you go to the ground. So he was literally rolling on the ground. He rolled on top of the opponent, and his face was over the top, and the blood was pouring like a spigot. And the guy was,
Oh, dude.
was choking his blood on CJ's blood. After the fight, after the first round, they call, the round ends. They go to the corner. The doctor goes, oh my God, what are we doing? It's over. It's over. Right? But it took us literally 30 minutes to clean the blood from the cage so we could continue the fights.
Gee, oh my God.
Unbelievable.
That's insane. Oh, I don't know. Like, you think that, well, you said it's amateur. Who knows if it'll be on YouTube, but that'd be something crazy to watch.
I don't know.
I'll have to look it up.
That was like back when I started cuts, it was 2007.
Yeah.
And I'm a strength trainer. That's what I do. I have a gym with my fighter, Bruno Escalante, the Aloha Kid. We're partners at a gym in San Mateo. You've been there. Aloha Time Boxing, right, man?
Great gym. Check it out if you haven't. Fantastic training. Very family oriented. Make sure to check out Aloha Time Boxing. One of my favorite gyms I've ever been to. Yeah, but keep going. My bad.
And we were, I was strength training, and I worked I opened Undisputed Boxing Gym in San Carlos in 2006. This was with Brian Schwartz, Eddie Croft. Mm. Eddie Croft has B Street Boxing. Now, Brian still has Undisputed Boxing. Almost a 20-year run coming up for Undisputed. So anyway, we're all Northern California. But anyway, 2000, I'm strength training. I have my own Leaders Boxing Gym. I actually owned half of it with Eloy Ramirez. Mm-hmm. And Eugene Jackson had owned it previously. He was one of the early MMA guys. So Eugene the Wolf Jackson, his sons fought after that, after his career. Mm-hmm. Tim Lasik, who was another early UFC competitor, and then another fighter named Eric Ray, who passed away. I was training those three guys because MMA was legalized in 2005 in California. So this was before Undisputed. We were at Gladiators Boxing Gym in Redwood City. I'm training Tim, Eugene, and Eric to compete on this huge show in San Jose. Huge. And it's the first, it was, MMA with Strikeforce. That was what, they were a competitor to UFC, but now they are Bellator.
Yeah.
But it was Strikeforce then, with Scott Coker owned it. Anyway, they what happened was they we opened, it was what's his name, Cesar Gracie and Frank Shamrock got in a beef. Mm-hmm. So the only one, everyone got hurt training. It's tough, man. It was a new MMA then was new. It wasn't like it is with like a real MMA fighters now. They're like it's a true like skill. It's a true thing. And then it was like all over the place. You could come off the street and say, "Oh shit, man, I want to fight MMA." Screw it. I want to fight MMA. So that's what happened. So all these guys are competing, and everyone got hurt. And I worked with Eugene was the only one that made it to the fight. So then we opened, in 2006, we opened Undisputed. We're a boxing gym. Mm-hmm. Boxing. Nobody wants to box. Yeah. And wants to fight MMA. Like I said, they're coming off the street going, "Hey, guys, can you train us?" Brian was a kickboxing world champion. Eddie fought kickboxing. He was a top contender, fought for the world title as a boxer. But these guys knew martial arts. They were Taekwondo guys, black belts. So they were saying, "Hey, let's do it." I was a strength trainer. They were the trainers. We're getting all these guys. Scott Coker's Brian fought for Scott with Strikeforce. We got all these guys fighting. I don't know shit about MMA. I don't wrap hands. I don't work cuts. I don't do none of it. I'm just strength training these guys, getting them ready. They always want you to come. because you're close to them in training to the fights. But I was at Gladiators Gym. I was a bucket stool guy. I would do the same thing, train the guys. I'm putting in the stool in the bucket. I'm not wrapping hands. I'm not working cuts. I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah.
So we go there. We have a fighter. He's fighting his first fight. They implemented what Stitch Duran did with UFC. They implemented cutman, house cutman. So the house guy was wrapping our guy, telling him, "Hey man, in UFC in the MMA rules, 2 coaches in the cage. If there's an injury and you need a cut man, one of those guys comes out and the cut man comes in." So he was saying, "Hey, if you see me in the cage, don't worry about it. I got you. I've been doing this a long time. Yes, and this and that and that." Anyway, long story short, we're going out to the cage. It's time to fight. And we look over and we go, "Hey man, come with us." And he's like, "I can't." We go, "What?" He goes, "I'm wrapping another fighter. The commission won't let me go until I finish." But I go, "Well, we're fighting. What do you mean? What about us? You just gave us this whole speech that you're going to protect us. Don't worry. You've been doing this for a long time." He's like, "Hey, man, I got to see the rules." And we were like, holy crap, man. So Jane, and I always don't know how to pronounce Jane, but she's a great cut woman. She worked for Kung Lee for years. I think she still works at his school. Tioka. She's great. She gave me a crash course in cut. She gave me gauze, Vaseline, no medicine. I think she gave me an inswell that was warm. And she said, just direct pressure, go out there and do it. If you get in trouble, you got to do it. So I went out. Our guy knocked the guy out in the first round. He wasn't cut, no injuries. We came back to the dressing room. Brian's all hot. He's screaming at the cut man. And I go, "Hey, man, listen, we're never going to get caught like this shit again. I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to learn how to wrap hands. I'm going to learn how to cuts. Screw this shit. We ain't never going to get caught like this shit again." And that's literally started.
So you were forced to learn how to become a cutman on the spot, like literally, like right before.
We were like, "Oh, what the hell?" She was like, "Just direct pressure. If there's a cut, put the gauze, just hold direct pressure as long as you can. You're probably going to have about 30 seconds to do it. Then put the Vaseline over it. If there's a swelling, put the inswell on it. Direct pressure, which is today, that is what you do, direct pressure. You don't do the rubbing. You don't do any of that stuff."
Yeah.
You see that a lot, even now. But I've gotten, obviously, you have to go to school, but there's no school.
School is like direct experience, huh?
Yeah, and you have to just do it. You have to want it and do it. You have to want it and do it. I've had like, there's always the thing too. You hear people say, "Oh shit, this guy's a cut man. Everybody wants to be a..." Well, sometimes you just have to tell the freaking universe that that's what you are. You hear the fighter. He's not even had a fight yet. What do you want to be? I'm going to be a world champion.
Fake it till you make it, basically, huh?
But you do it. You just believe in yourself. Was I a cutman when I said I was a cutman in the beginning? No. But I wouldn't quit. There was a stick-to-itiveness that I stuck with. When it was time, when there was an injury, I jumped at the opportunity to fix it. I didn't wait. I didn't ask. I didn't wait to be asked. I didn't wait to be someone to say, "Okay, you're going to do something?" I said, "You just do it. You go for it." And that's big. Wrapping hands, same thing. People ask me all the time. I mean, I wrap multiple fighters, multiple world champions for years. And everyone says, "How do you, I want to teach me." I go, "Well, I can show you what I do, but you have to practice every single day. You go buy your box of gauze, go buy your tape, and go to the gym and wrap everybody."
And they don't come back, do they? Always.
No. Very.
And quick, I just want to get some questions out of the way. People are asking questions, Bazzel. So my friend Pesto God, he's also a fight fan. He's actually from New York. He was asking you,
Yo,
who's your favorite fighter of all time?
that I've worked with, or just overall?
That's a good question. I would say just in general, like of all the years, like who'd have to be your favorite fighter?
There's a lot. I really a lot of fighters that
It's a hard question, huh? I feel like it's really hard to answer.
I like to think of myself as a little bit of a historian of boxing. I don't. I'm no Max Kellerman. I don't have the statistics that he has.
You're not a rapper like Max Kellerman.
Actually, but I don't hate statistics and stuff. I like the stories. I like the different things about fighters, and I believe the fighter athlete is the most unique athlete on the planet. A very unique, very special athlete, different than other athletes in other sports.
Yeah.
I like my fighter coming up. I didn't know anything about boxing. I used to watch it with my uncle. I was 11 and 12, and it was Muhammad Ali, but Ali was Fat Ali. It was like Fat Elvis, right? I love Elvis, but geez, if you liked Elvis in the 70s, if you look at that, you're going, that guy was the king of rock and roll. Oh my God, he's terrible. Right? But I would watch him on ABC. He was beating Jimmy Young, but Jimmy Young really beat him. He fought Alfredo Evangelista, but it was a terrible 15 boring fight. I'm like, God, this guy's really good. I mean, I don't know.
And just to touch on that real quick, fights were 15 rounds back then when Ali was fighting, right?
Oh, yeah.
So take notes, y'all. Fights used to be 15 rounds, not 12.
15. And he was but I didn't know a lot about him. So my other cousins in San Diego, they would watch Roberto Duran. I would go to their house. Duran was on TV all the time. He fought, and back in those days when Duran and those guys fought, they fought world title fights, but they fought on TV non-title fights too. They might be a world champion, but they're on ABC Wild World of Sports fighting a 10-round non-title fight.
Yeah.
You're going, oh, nobody do that now. Hey, nobody risk nothing now. That's big, right? Money's too much. So, and can't blame him. His money's too much. But he was active. The thing his style, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, wow, how do you fight like that? That's unbelievable. That's like, someone from the 80s looking at a Mike Tyson and going, holy crap, who could fight like that? He's like a monster. Duran was that guy, right? So I liked Roberto Duran his whole career. Followed his whole career.
So far, Ali, Duran, and then Tyson, I think.
Yeah, I learned to love Ali, after his career was over. I learned to love, because I started learning a little more about boxing. Then I started watching the older Ali, which I was like, I didn't see that before. And then you start appreciating. And then, Sugar Ray Robinson, that was later in my life that I really started appreciating him. Very hard to find great footage of him. Sugar Ray Leonard, I loved. Even though I was for Duran when they fought, I learned to appreciate him because I was like, oh my God, that first fight was a great fight. I mean, Leonard, if you don't like Leonard after that fight, you're crazy. Everyone thought, oh, he's a boxer, runner, this and that. No way. That guy dug down in the trenches. He fought hard. That was a great 15-round fight. Leonard and Duran, the first one.
So basically, like, all the all-time greats, most of the all-time greats you were there, like, you experienced, so.
Yeah. My first fight that I bought, closed circuit, gosh, 17 or whatever, maybe just turned 18, was Leonard Hearns, the first Leonard Hearns. I bought it. I went to the cable store and bought the little converter. The second one, Cooney and Holmes.
Isn't it crazy how things are now, like, compared to, like, you're just like, holy shit, now you can watch it on your freaking phone,
Back then, you bought this converter box, you did it, you brought it home. It was great. I saw that one. Great experience. But then when I got the Cooney Holmes, the signal went out. So all we could do was hear the fight. We couldn't see it. It was snow because sometimes the connections weren't real good.
Yeah.
You know, it was a world, man, different world back then. But looking at now and going back and looking at old fights, and you really appreciate all these guys. And when I had my first world champion that I worked with was Nonito Donaire, and I've been with him forever since 2009. And we used to watch fights. We'd pick a fight before a certain opponent, and we'd watch because he would study. And I remember we were watching. It was for the rematch. I want to say it was the rematch for Darchinian.
Oh my god.
That was a tough fight, but we were watching Salvador Sanchez and Wilfredo Gomez. I don't know if you've ever seen that fight.
I don't think so.
If you've never seen it, you have to watch it.
Mhm.
Amazing. And what he said was, Nonito was like, these guys are throwing so many punches at each other and they're not holding each other. There's no holding, but they're close. They're in the trenches.
Mhm.
They're outside or inside, but there's no grab. It's nonstop action. It's a very historical fight. And yeah, we used to watch a lot of stuff like that.
No, I appreciate that. So yeah, there you go, Pesto. There's your answer. Basically, you know, Bazzel has been there for like all the greats, you know. So there you go, you
Well,
know.
now, I mean, the ones I work with, obviously, Nonito Donaire, Demetrius Andrade, one of the best guys. I like working with him a lot. And I mean, every person I work with, you know, all of them. Sergey Derenchenko, Daniel Jacobs, you know, Bruno.
Bruno's a
Escalante.
go.
I was with him all of his fights, from the first one to the last one, all of them.
Actually,
So
should
it's
put that in here. Bruno.
the Aloha Kid.
There you go. Check out his fights on YouTube. You know, Bruno is also the other co-owner of Aloha Time Boxing. So if you guys want really good training and you're based in the Bay Area, I think, do you guys do remote training too?
Yeah, we do the Zoom, and
Mhm.
you know, since the pandemic, we've all been forced to do that.
Yeah. So
I
there,
actually didn't enjoy it, but I do.
yeah, there you guys go. You know, if you guys are looking for training too, also make sure to check out Bruno Escalante's videos on YouTube. You know, he's a great boxer. Um, my
Southpaw.
Southpaw. My friend Mexican Snorlax is asking. So I have like
Yeah.
two quick questions. We'll just go through them quick 'cause I want to hear more about you. You know, my friend Mexican Snorlax is asking who sustains more damage on average, a lefty or a righty?
Who sustains more? What?
More damage. So who gets hit more, basically?
Well, if it's just
I
that's not
I think it would depend on the fighter, right? Like their
that's
skill level.
really difficult to fight. If you
Mhm.
look at a guy, look at a southpaw like Shakur Stevenson, man, don't get touched. He's a wonderful boxer. He knows his distance. He's impeccable with his distance. He's, you know, same with Demetrius Andrade, another southpaw. If I mean, when we fought Williams, Demetrius fought Williams. Williams didn't get to Demetrius until the 9th round, when Williams kind of put it all out. He
Mhm.
was a great guy, Liam Williams, tough as they come, and he put his last stand up, and he bruised up Demetrius. It was a tough, grueling 12-round fight,
Yeah.
but it wasn't later part of the fight that and Williams had to really sell out.
So he basically
So,
had to stop being like he basically kind of had to risk it all, right?
well, like look at Valdez. Oscar's
Mhm.
going to fight Shakur
Tough fight.
against the southpaw. Shakur has to fight him. What? He's got to fight him like he fought Burkell.
Mm-hmm.
Shakur is not Burkell.
Yeah.
Shakur, amazing. He could pick you apart. And if Valdez comes out trying to box him, it's just going to be one round after the next, after the next. I don't see him being able to change much if Shakur gets going. If Shakur, once he knows his distance, once he knows where he's at, I don't think Valdez can do it. He has to do it from the very second of the first round. He has to jump all over Shakur. He has to make him uncomfortable. He cannot allow him to get behind a jab. He cannot allow him to have any kind of breathing room. Now that's going to create a lot of high probability of damage to Valdez because he will hit. But he has to do that. He can't, let that go. I mean, he can't box Shakur. That's just a big ass mistake.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's still boxing. Anything can happen, But I think it definitely, like you said, it depends on the fighter and style. A guy who does not have a good jab, you will sustain damage. A fighter that has a jab, you have a great probability of not getting hit that much. I got to work in a fight with a young fighter, and he Zach Nelson, and I don't know if you know him, but he's from the Bay Area, but he moved to Vegas, and we fought in Portland, and his coach was actually Eddie Mustafa Muhammad.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. Why does that sound so familiar?
Weight champions of all time, fought them all, fought everybody, fought James Scott, the light heavyweight from the 70s that was in Rahway State Prison. He fought him. He fought Matthew Saad Muhammad. He fought Marvin Johnson. He fought all of them. He used to spar with Muhammad Ali. He was a great fighter, and he's a very good coach. He trained TMT, trains out of Mayweather's gym in Vegas. But this was a few years ago, a little older. And one of the things that Eddie used to always say was when he'd see a fighter that was older and, retired and stuff, he'd go, oh, man, he's done. Like, meaning it did well.
Yeah.
It did not for him, right? He's having trouble with life. So, Eddie, we were talking at dinner, and he's telling me all these stories. He's just got a great memory. Sharp as hell. And he goes, hey, Baz, I got pretty good stories, don't I? And I go, yes, sir. He goes, I got a good recall. I can remember. I can remember everything, huh? I go, yes, sir. And he goes, you know why? And I go, why? Because he goes, I fought the best of my era in the hardest era of light heavyweights, the golden era of light heavyweights. I fought them all. I was sparred with Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter of all time. But the reason I can talk to you today is because I had a jab and I knew how to move my head. That's it. He could jab and had defense. Jab and defense. Come on. You move your head and you have a jab, you're going to be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Else comes after that. If you don't have that first, man, you're in trouble. You're just making it hard for yourself. If you ever start boxing, you want to start learning, you start learning, you teach a kid. If you want to teach somebody, if you're training, if you go to a boxing gym and you don't know how to box, if your trainer is probably going to put you, if he's good or she is good, they will make you jab until you cannot use your hand anymore. They will make you do that until you throw anything else. You will learn how to step, learn how to move your head, and learn how to work behind a jab, the lead hand, the most closest punch that you can touch an opponent with. If you cannot touch him with that first lead hand, how are you going to hit him with everything else? You got to step forward without any weapon, so you're susceptible to getting hit.
Take notes, everyone. Take notes, all right? So, the jab, most important punch in boxing, the jab.
If you don't have it, I mean, you got to learn it. I mean, you just need it. And a lot of guys learn it later, like Nonito. Nonito was, he knew he had a jab. It was this, but he was a counter puncher, devastating left hook.
Yeah.
Great puncher, great counter puncher. I mean, reflexes like a cat. So he didn't really box you.
Yeah.
He just moved, waited for you to make a mistake, come in. He could step back and be in position to knock you out in a splits of a second. Look at the highlight reel. But later on, as he moved up in weight, as we lost decisions, and he's still fighting at 38, and he's a world champion again at 38. It's like at a weight that he is, 118, is very rare. But the thing is, he's learned, he has a beautiful jab.
Yeah.
Beautiful jab now. He goes to the body. He's able to have learned through experience and years and the losses. Be honest, from loss you learn, right? Get better. He's able to do that, but he's had the opportunity. A lot of us, a lot of fighters, people that fight, people that are boxers, they have that short window, and sometimes you don't have that opportunity. You're done before your career's over, before you really become really good. And that's nothing on the fighter. Generally, it's usually the business of the game.
I'm glad you mentioned Don Eric because, man, his fight with Inoue, the monster, holy shit! Like, I feel like if you compare Don Eric, like, I feel like a good way to compare Don Eric is like how they talk about wine, like it gets better with age. I feel like Don Eric has been just getting like it's crazy. Like after all, I feel like he's been around for such a while, and he's just been getting better. He's I don't know. Yeah.
He hated himself to his I think his overall conditioning. His wife is his trainer. I mean, really, Nonito's his trainer. He's his own trainer. His wife is there. Her influence as a fitness, she's into fitness. She teaches class, teaches that. That dynamic. I was a strength trainer.
Yeah.
I don't live in the same town anymore. He doesn't live in the Bay Area anymore. We don't train like that anymore. But she has taken that, and they have. So where before maybe it was 3 or 4 months where he didn't do anything between fights. Now he's a year-round in condition, which has saved his career. You look at all those guys. Look at a Floyd Mayweather. Look at a Bernard Hopkins. Those guys are in condition all year long.
Yeah.
They're in and out of shape.
They don't let themselves go. It's just consistent shape.
Floyd is retired. So is Hopkins, but they still are conditioned athletes. They still are in training. It's wonderful, and look at Pacquiao, same thing. The guy was just like a phenomenal train. He trained like crazy.
Hey, Bazzel, not to interrupt, but one more question, and then we can continue. But I'm loving this. I feel like I'm definitely getting a historic lesson. I feel like everyone here in the chat is like learning a lot about boxing. Because I also I'm a big enthusiast and stuff, but I definitely I'll touch on that right now. But my friend Annoy Princess is asking, and I've been to Aloha Time Boxing, so I kind of know. But do y'all train women with long nails? Asking for a friend.
Oh yeah. There's I don't know how you do it with long nails, to be honest. But there's she's a really good trainer in LA or Southern California. Freaking the CRS is getting me, man. Can't remember shit.
It's all good.
What is her name is she's really good, Mitts.
Oh, you're talking about the Mitt Queen, right?
Coach Cam.
Wait, is that her name, the Mitt Queen, by any chance?
No, not the Mitt Queen.
Okay.
But Coach. Wow, her nails are like that.
Oh,
This Mitt's like crazy with bangers, guys that can punch. How does she do that? I do not know. But if she can do it, anybody can do it with nails.
I gotta find her. She holds
everybody. She holds for beginners. She holds for champions. She holds pretty impressive.
I'll have to find her because I think you would appreciate that, Princess. You want to see some. She has long nails. She's also in the Bay Area. Maybe
is a thing.
Maybe you could go to the gym and check it out. Great gym.
Gym.
But yeah, Bazzel, let's keep going. So thanks for answering those questions, and but honestly, I'm trying to think. There's so much. I feel like there's so much to talk about. Like, I think. Well, obviously, you told us already about how you became a cutman. you were working in the corner. You first things
Yeah.
first. We didn't even know that. Like I feel like some people in the chat were saying we didn't know that MMA was banned until what 2005, and then that's how you kind of got your start.
Yeah.
And then you ended up like learning how to be a cutman on the spot. Oh,
Well, I was thrown into it. I didn't learn how to
yeah.
do it. It took years to get better at it and get better at wrapping hands and all of that.
And so
Lots of experience, a lot of years.
I've so I me, like I've already worked with like Tapia, that's why I coach over here at San Ardo and stuff. And I think something that's super interesting is when I work a friend's corner. So I have a friend named Ivan, right? He's a pro boxer. He's like up and coming and stuff. When I work his corner, I'm like you said, the stool and the water person or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes me, I get freaking nervous when I'm in there. I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to mess up. I don't want to I'm like, which way? Like before the fight, I'm always like, which way do I go in? Which way? So like, I'm interested to know like, what's your pre-fight ritual, or like, what like, do you have a ritual and stuff?
I like to prepare all my stuff. All my equipment I'm going to use, I prepare it.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. Make sure I'm ready to go with everything I need. And I'm probably over prepared. Mike Rodriguez, another cut man from Southern California, he works out of Wild Card and a lot of Freddie Roach's guys, and he's a great cut man. Works for PBC a lot as a house cut man too. And he's an over preparer like me too. We're very similar. Like I mean, he's got it down. His packing is way better than me, but I'm like overpacked. But I can also, when half the card needs something, I can loan them something because I usually have extra. But I like to prepare for everything. Yeah, you got to look at the corners. You want to try, if you can, get down to the ring and see if there's a one side access corner. Sometimes they have steps on one side where you have to swing around, which is very dangerous and stupid. Yeah. Sometimes they have go up both edges of the corner. Every commission is different in every state. You have TV. Sometimes they'll put the TV right next to your corner, which makes no sense. It's weird.
Yeah.
But they do it. They should have the TV guys in the neutral corners and not the, not the red. Because sometimes you can hear, like I've been in corners where I'm listening to the guys, and I know the coach is listening to those guys going, oh, he's getting his ass kicked. He's doing this. And the guy's hearing that. And it's like, you don't need to be hearing those guys with their opinions, And I've seen that. And it's weird to me. I don't know why they do that. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do. You have two neutral corners that you could have the TV cameras and all those are the commentators posted up. You don't have to have them in the blue or red corner. It's weird. Like I said, like in the bubble, there's a funny story. Excuse me.
Oh, and just to real quick, let everyone know what the bubble is. Oh, bless you. I don't know if you sneezed,
That was when we had so during the pandemic, everything shut down, right? Obviously, we all know that. March of 2020, everything shut down. Basketball, NBA, I think, was the first sport to start bubbling their athletes so they could be on TV and have fights. UFC did it, but when they were starting to do it, they at first anywhere, then that kind of fell apart because of the pandemic in different states. So the UFC did it basically at their campus in Vegas.
Yeah.
So that they had their fights in-house, so they could do whatever they wanted. It's on private property. No fans, none of that. But then boxing, Top Rank, and NBA, that was the first boxing and the second sport to do a bubble, to actually televise again. We were the only sports on TV. We had two shows on ESPN. If you recall, it was on Tuesday and Thursday nights. For 2 months, I lived at the 12th floor of the MGM Grand in Vegas. But the studio, ESPN did a great job. I mean, it looked, the set looked fantastic. The LED screens were gigantic with the fighters' images. It was wonderful, right? I mean, unbelievable, top of the line.
Wait, so you
And
said you lived there for 12 months? You said at the
12 weeks
12
for
weeks. Sorry.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were there
Mhm.
2 months, and then we had, you can't leave. You're in a bubble. You have to get tested every week. Once you're there, you can't interact with the public. Nothing. You have to live on the same floor. You're to and from the cafeteria, and you're to and from the shows. That's it. So you're in your room a lot.
Yeah.
And we go through all this, and that's when I met Stitch. Me and
Mhm.
Stitch, Durant, cutman, and then we had Bob Ware. That's Mayweather's cutman, and he wraps Mayweather's hands. He was our third guy to help us, and they both live in Vegas, so it was
Mhm.
easier for them. I live in San Francisco, so I was gone from home for a while. But anyway, since there were no fans and no ringside people, I would jump up into the ring because I want to get in there fast.
Yeah.
I'll every day of the week to give myself 55 seconds or more. If you see some of my fights, I'm in the ring. As the fighter turns around, I'm already put my hand. I got a towel on their face and sitting them down. Like I don't wait till they get down and sit
Mhm.
down and all bloody, and then I have to work on them. I try to meet them before they even come to the ring or come to the corner. But the funny thing was, there's Stitch. He's hilarious, and he's like he sees me jumping up and down all the time. So I'm working when he's watching me work the fights. So all of a sudden he sends me a video of me doing it. And I'm going, man, that's cool, man. He actually filmed me doing it, right?
Yeah.
I go, what a cool guy. So then when I get back to my room, I actually turned the volume up. And he's going, that's right, kid. That's right. Keep doing it. He goes, another 5 years, you'll be taking the stairs. Like, keep on going, motherfucker. 5 more years, you'll be getting the stairs. I can't, like, come on, kid. You can do that now, but shit. And it's tough. I mean, there was one fight, one card, me and Stitch worked 164 rounds.
Holy shit.
It was a lot of rounds getting up and down. All the fights were 10 round. It was great. It was a big night. Like 11 fights. It was a long night, but it was fun. It was a great experience, and I got to work with a lot of fighters I'd never worked with before, and it's great.
And you establish like rapport with those fighters, and then like even
Yeah.
outside. Oh, you know me. I know Andy. Andy Vences and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And like I
We were
feel
there.
like you get requested by people, right? Like outside of the top, where they're like, "Hey, Bazzel, could you come work with these fights?"
Well, I've had Andy since the
Mm.
beginning of his.
Yeah. So it's just
Yeah.
like people just
He-
request you outside of like top rank and
oh
stuff.
yeah. I still have to. I still work with Demetrius Andre,
Yeah.
Daniel Jacobs, Sergey Derenchenko, Chris Algieri. I still work with all those guys. They're not
Hmm.
with Top.
Yeah.
They're all older guys. Nonito,
Hmm.
work with Nonito and all that, but they're older and their careers aren't going to be. I mean, no one's going to fight forever, right? So
Right.
that will, and I have established a great relationship with Top Rank. I believe they're, and Matchroom as well. Matchroom Boxing. I've been their house cut man too, and I enjoy working with them. So I would like to continue that, and I would dedicate myself to one of the promotions. And like Mike Rodriguez, he's Golden Boy
Yeah.
PBC. I don't really work with them. I've worked with PBC,
Hmm.
but not necessarily, with Golden Boy that much. I think Golden Boy is the only promotion during the pandemic that I have not worked with. I worked with everyone else: Ring City, Thompson Boxing, DeBella Entertainment. Man, you name it.
I think the thing with you, Basil, is that in boxing, I'm just not talking about just cutmen, but like boxers, whatever. I feel like you have to be very personable, and I think that's what you have. You're very like your attitude is very it rubs off on people in a good way. Like you're just the way
Oh,
you explain things. Like you're very personable, and I feel like that's what makes you a popular cutman. You not only do you know your shit, but you're also like hey, like you just motivate people. I remember when we were at Aloha Time Boxing, and I forgot what I had asked you. I think it was something about and Paul too. Paul, something about a shoulder thing, and then I think you put him onto the tape, and just the way you
Yeah.
explain things, like you articulate things well, and I feel like that's what makes you popular too, you know. And it's my friend well, actually my friend Rachel or Annoy Princess said, "Oh, I bet Bazzel could kick your ass," and I'm like, bro, like literally you have no idea. Like Mike Bazzel, literally, I don't think I've ever seen this man like out of shape. You stay in shape all the time. I'm like, I don't know how the hell you do it. Like, obviously, you know, you're with all these boxers and stuff, but you know, how do you manage to stay in good shape all the time? You're busy as hell, you know.
It's not easy. The pandemic
Mm,
was tough. In the hotels was,
yeah.
I mean, I had like, God, enough of the push-ups and sit-ups in the hotel room, man. Enough. So sometimes I work out at the gyms
Mm-hmm.
that are in the hotels. Not a whole, like, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
For the training when I get home, I enjoy it, But on the road, it's hard and it's tough because I'm there for it's like a band, You
Mm-hmm.
come to town, you drive into the town or fly in, you go to the radio station, you do your interviews, you go to the venue, you do your sound check. Maybe you get to the hotel room for a second, probably not. You go eat, then you go right to set up and you do the show,
Mm-hmm.
then you're out of there on the road for the next show.
Yeah.
It's the same. I'm going to go to Vegas Thursday. I get there Thursday night, have dinner, see some of the guys, maybe see some of the fighters that I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
work with. But then as soon as Friday comes, we go to the weigh-ins. We talk to all the fighters on the card, pick our assignments, who we're going to wrap, who we're working cuts with. We
Mm-hmm.
work our, and then we have dinner sometimes, whatever. And then Saturday is the fight, and then Sunday we fly home, or
That
we go to another. So it's
that's
like that.
crazy. And you know, just so everyone here in the chat knows, you just got back from New York, right? I think it was New York from working the Edgar
Yeah,
Berlanga Xander Zayas fight. So you just got
I
back from New York when, like Monday, Tuesday.
got back Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm ready to go to Vegas, and then I go to Vegas, and then I got Triple G in Japan April 9th.
There y'all
Yeah,
go.
fighting Murata to unify the title. And Rudy Hernandez is working with Murata. He's another great cut man, great guy.
So no
So
excuses, Basil, right? Like there's no excuses to not stay in shape. Like you're literally on the road like all the time.
there's a quote.
Mhm.
Um, you like football, right? You follow football.
Yeah, I'm a
So Tom
casual.
Tom Brady's a local guy. I've never personally met Tom Brady.
Mhm.
I love the work ethic and everything, and I tell this story all the time. And I want to put this quote, and I'm paraphrasing it. It's not the actual quote, but it's what I got out of it. It was on a radio interview. I want to put this in the gym, but I talk about it all the time. He, they were the Patriots were playing the Jaguars in the playoffs. There's a wild card of the playoffs, and the Jaguars had beaten them in the season pretty good, and I think they had beaten them the year before too. But they were a young team,
No.
so they were talking on the radio. They said, "Tom, gosh, you must feel good. The Jaguars kind of have had you guys' number, but now you're in the playoffs. This is a whole nother season. All your experience in this realm, you guys must be really confident going into this game." And he goes, "Well, I will take preparation and performance over experience any day of the week." Right? You can have all the experience in the
Mhm.
world. Whatever I did as a cutman yesterday doesn't mean jack shit. It helps me with my experience, my knowledge, my preparation. What I've done in the past has helped me prepare to perform on this Saturday night. But what I've done before means nothing this Saturday night because I still have to perform. But the
Mhm.
experience that I had has helped me prepare. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
just because the experience, I can't just sit back and go, yeah, whatever, man.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, I got you. Don't even worry about it. No, not me. I don't think that way. I always feel whatever mistake I made, I'd never want to make that same mistake again.
Yeah.
Always make mistakes. How can I, if I learn something new, and I literally learn something new each and every fight I work, each and every show that I'm on, I learn something new. If I do that every show, how can I know everything?
Yeah.
If every time I'm out there I learn something new, I don't know everything because I'm always learning. So I never want to make the same mistake twice. I'm always learning. Whatever I've done in the past, all that experience does for me is helps me prepare in my preparation for the next performance. And I have to perform when it's my shot.
Take notes,
It
chat. So the learning never stops ever. You know, you always
never.
got to keep learning. You always got to keep striving for more. You always got you can't stay. You can't be comfortable. You gotta keep learning. Basically keep pushing yourself. But yeah,
You
sorry.
have to. People don't do it, right? But you want to. I myself, like, when I was the stool and guy. Hey, I'm nothing against you, man, but I was the fastest stool and bucket guy there was. Okay, I'm sure you're fast, but man, I took that shit serious. It's like almost too serious. It's like, there's some footage of me. Wherever I see you at the gym, I have to show you.
Yeah.
Oh, putting it in there quick. I was like, that's right. That's right. That's right. I still got it.
And now you're the fastest cutman in the ring, huh?
I try to be. I want to be as quick as I possibly can.
Bazzel, that should be like a tagline, like fastest cutman in the ring, and it's like because you go in there.
Well, a lot of guys go. So, like when you have the ring, right?
Yeah.
You have the right. Now I'm looking at it from the back, not from the fighters facing out, the right side and the left side. The right side is generally where the inspector goes, the head coach goes, or they let the head coach go, inspector, and then the cut man goes up on the right. Usually the assistant goes to the left.
Yeah.
I always left. I never go to the right.
Okay.
Because I find one or two people. I want to be my first in the ring. Even if I'm going in the middle, I go left side if I can. Because there's instruction generally. If there is, I'll go to the right side if I'm in the middle. Like when I was in the middle with Berlanga, I still went the left side. I still went up that. Now, that's not necessarily the greatest camera angle for a cut man to get seen, but that's okay. I don't care about that. It's not my. Let's be honest. They don't really show the corner anyway.
Yeah.
Most thing they cut. They show the fight and they cut the corner stuff out. They show little high. That's why it's great. Pay-per-view is great because you can see the corners. Or if you're at the fight itself, but a lot of times you can't really. I want to watch the cut men do their jobs. I want to watch how the corner works, and you can't see it because when you watch them, they cut all that out.
They go to the commentators, right?
Yeah, those guys. What do they know?
Yeah.
I mean, but commentate. I don't need to see your face.
Yeah, true.
I don't need to see. I just need to hear you, right? I don't need to see you. Let's watch what the action is. And there's some great commentators. Andre Ward's a great commentator. Paulie Malignaggi.
Yeah.
I loved him. The way he's doing it, and him and Andre Ward have their banter back and forth. They're very different.
I like how they get into it sometimes, but I think like, I don't know, this is just me subjective, but I think personally, I prefer hearing boxers criticize other boxers because they've done it. Where you have like other people that are, I don't want to say casuals, but that don't have experience being in there, taking a punch, being under like facing adversity. They criticize boxers, but it's like you haven't been in there. So for me, like you're more of an analyst and like you actually have the experience.
Well, like that, I agree with you. I like when Kellerman was doing it. I like those guys too, because they know so much more of statistics. They can recall. It's almost like you got the straight man, you got a comedy duo. You got the straight man, and you got the comedian. The straight man sets the comedian up.
Yeah.
The comedian's way more funnier
Mm-hmm.
because the man's setting him up. So you got the analyst, like you said, not the, what would you call him? He's like the whatever. And
They
you
look at the
have
data, right?
you comment, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
got the guy, the leader, the commentator. He's setting up the analyst who's the fighter, right?
Yeah.
But him up because a lot of the guys, I mean, you have some that are very well spoken, you know, like Andre Ward's, Chris
Mm-hmm.
Algier. You got those guys are very well spoken. And then you guys that shoot off the hip. You know, Tim Bradley will shoot from the hip. You know, he says what he wants. He's very into the fights. But you know, so you got to you can't just let those guys go at each other because they'll take over everything and nothing will get set, right? So you have that straight guy in there to set everything up, and that's what those guys are for. And they're
Yeah.
great at. They're really pros. But yeah, you don't want a guy that's like. Sometimes the opinions are just unbelievable, you know,
Yeah.
because I got into boxing from the San Francisco Chronicle had a boxing column every Saturday by Jack Fisk. He was an old school boxing writer. All right. I would read his column. Guys like that, they would go to the actual gym. So old school boxing people literally went to gyms and they studied fighters and they watched the training. Now they were great because they didn't tell all the little bull crap stuff that they do
Mm-hmm.
now. You get a kid with a camera now, he goes to a boxing gym and he's filming, or they're filming maybe a very good fighter sparring a guy that's not so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's knocked him out or did some crap to him and they post that all over the place, right? It's very horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain things that are sacred in boxing and stuff that happens inside a gym. It's a sacred area because you're trying to help each other get better. Yeah, there's ex fighters that spar. You're not always gonna. If you're a world champion, you're not sparring guys that are actually as good or better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you find guys that push you. You find guys that maybe mimic the style of the opponent you're going to face. Sometimes it's not even, you know, it can be someone else. Like I remember when Andre Berto fought Mayweather, we were able to work with Andre. I worked at Snack
Mm-hmm.
in Berto's Scientific Nutrition for Advanced Conditioning. We did conditioning. I worked with Berto sessions, conditioning with the hypoxic training for his fight with Mayweather. But he would come after sparring. His sparring partner for Mayweather was a smaller guy, which I don't recall his name, but it was Andre Ward. Why would you spar Andre Ward getting ready for Mayweather? Not even close to the same style. Yeah. But that's what pushed him. It's like if he could, I don't know how the dynamic worked, but like I said, Andre, that's like he's better than Berto, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like his big brother, right? So it's not like he's in a position where he can beat up somebody, you know, every day. He has to defend himself every day because, you know, he's sparring someone that good, so much better, you know, like a top class, top of 1% of boxing. And it's like, so sometimes it's like you got guys that come in there with the, you know, the little interviewers and stuff and see all that stuff. They put that all out there as stories.
They instigate, huh? They're like instigators, yeah.
Well, it's not. It's sacred, man. They don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand what's going on, and a lot of guys, you know, highlight stuff. I mean, gosh, you can go through anything on Instagram, pull it up now, see almost every fighter that's showing an excellent them beating someone up in sparring. That guy that they're beating up is not as good as them,
and they won't come back either, right? Like after
not that good. So it's like, come on, man, that guy. The guy's coming at you like this, and you're beating the shit out of him, hitting him with every punch you have. Come on, you shouldn't do that.
So, gym etiquette, you know, when you're at a boxing gym, like, don't record unless you ask for permission, right? Don't just like...
Ask.
Yeah.
So, or ask Steve, usually. It's not, you don't want to do that. You want to ask. And then you know, like sometimes, like say we bring someone to spar and we say, can we film this? Because we want it for our, absolutely. No posting it, of course, but we'll, you know, to study later. You know, generally if we're bringing someone that's sparring someone really good, you know, that's like, we need to see how did this guy kick our butt, or
Yeah.
we did well in some aspects, some rounds we did really well. Let's study how we did well against them, you know, but you don't post that stuff. My goodness. I mean, but people do it now. It's a big deal. But back then, old writers, they would write about these guys because they knew, because they watched them in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
They spent hours in boxing gyms all over the cities studying the fighters and watching how they trained and watching the trainers, how trainers taught. So they could, you know, they had a lot of education in how a trainer interacted with a fighter. Now people don't know the trainers.
Yeah.
They don't understand what Freddie Roach does or Robert Garcia does or Virgil Hunter does, or they don't see what they do in the gym. Manny Robles's and the, the Buddy McGirts. They don't watch them train fighters in the gym.
It's just more to like get like
They listen
engagement
to
on social
Conor,
media, right? So it's like
Conor talking, but they don't see, you know, they might not say a lot in the corner.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they didn't train the guy day in and day out for hours and hours in the gym for weeks and months and years at a time to get to that point where it was minimal words spoken. So that's another factor, you know. There's like some of the stuff, being a cutman, being able to watch cutmen work in the corners in fights because they cut the corners out. Being able to listen to the trainers in the gym. That's a lost arts, man. Lost. It's just lost in the day and age of, let me just see the fight. Let me just see the knockout. Let me see the high. Everything else doesn't mean anything. Right?
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned that too. I'm glad that you're talking about that because like I mentioned, my friend Ivan, you know, he's training and stuff. Like he spars a bunch of different people. And the thing is, you know, I try to help him like with social. I'll get videos from him, and you know, we talked about, you know, not posting any sparring because you don't want to post like someone getting the better of each other or, you know, them getting the better of you. It's just like you don't want to. It's not meant to be who's better. It's meant to be let's get some work. You know,
you get better. You want to work on things too. Sometimes you're not comfortable doing.
Yeah,
you could do. Yeah.
And Bazzel, just so like, you know, I feel like you could explain it better. What is sparring for those of you in the chat that don't know what sparring is? Well, how would you define sparring?
It's live practice. Live practice. But you try to protect yourself. So you'll wear headgear. That's not necessarily competition headgear. Like in an amateur headgear, you know, for competition, USA boxing, whatever, it's a lot thinner. It's there to protect against mostly cuts and abrasions, not necessarily the impact of a punch, because it's a lot thinner, right, sir? And that's basically, it is to prevent the abrasions and swelling, because they're in tournaments usually. So they have to fight, they win, they fight against the next day. This business of them not wearing headgear, you know, they get cut, they get stitched, they fight again the next day if they can. They get swelling or black eyes, they fight again the next day. It's kind of silly because you don't do that in professional stuff. I mean, why would you do it as an amateur? Why would you risk an amateur fighter getting a cut in a tournament, scar tissue? He fights again with stitches, gets more scar tissue. Then when he's a professional, when it really matters, where he can, that will be stopped, or he's susceptible. That's because he has scar tissue from an amateur career where he never got paid. I mean, this is ridiculous. But anyway, that sparring, so generally the sparring headgear is a little bigger. You see guys like Lomachenko, Pacquiao, they wear the bar.
Yeah.
That's, again, they're proficient fighters that have been fighting for years and years and years, and they want to protect themselves from cuts. You get hit a lot more when you wear the bar because a slight move, you still catch the bar, catch it with uppercuts, hook, and you can pull a little bit away and still get caught. So your defense suffers a little bit with the bar, but they're proficient guys that are champions in multiple divisions, and they choose to not get hurt. So that's fine. But you have a bigger headgear, and the reason you wear, and generally you wear 14 to 16 ounce gloves, where in fights you wear 8 ounce if you're 47 and under, and 48 and above you wear 10 ounce gloves. So in sparring you wear 14 to 16 ounce gloves, sometimes even heavier, and that is generally to protect your hand.
Yeah.
Guys are like, well, the glove is to protect the. You still get hurt. You still get rocked with 16s or 14s. 14s are generally for smaller hand fighter. It's good to wear you can wear the 14s because they fit a little better in your hand. 16s your hand can be loose in it if you're a smaller guy. But it's basically to protect your hands because you're sparring. You're doing it multiple times a week, so your susceptibility to injury or your percentage to get injured is greater the more times you're doing this per week.
Yeah.
So you wrap your hands well, wear the 16-ounce padded gloves, wear padded. If you look at sparring gear, it's usually thicker padded on the forehead because that's where this dense bone, you will break your hand if you hit them there.
So I'm not sure if you mentioned this and stuff, but so 14 and 16 when sparring, but like for bigger guys, I wear 18s. Like, the day of the actual fight, what do they actually wear? Like, I don't know if you mentioned it.
You were a heavyweight as a pro, 10 ounce.
10 ounce, and for like the smaller guys,
from 47 down is 8 ounce. But if you're 1 above, it's 10 ounce.
So it's like almost nothing on your hand. It's literally like just like the leather on your hand, basically, huh?
Well, it's pretty it's a different thing. The small gloves joke. So they buzz you, they cut you. It's tough.
And just so sorry if you see me smiling here, like people are writing stuff, but my friend Annoyed Princess, she was asking, how do you become a ring girl?
I used to hire the ring girls for Don Shargan and Paco Presents.
No way.
I used to find the girls to work the shows, and so get in with a promoter, and they're always looking for ring girls, and be really nice, and because you got to remember, a lot of it is you want to be taken. The fans want to take pictures with you. And if you're that person that likes that, you don't shy away from that. You take photos with them. Man, it's a wonderful experience.
There you go, Princess. And oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you get the crowd pumping in the ring. If they're cheering, if you just walk with the card, they're not gonna, hey. But if you're a little like, even if sometimes the girls will fist pump.
Yeah.
Or, really, they don't even have to really do any risque movement. They just have to have a smile, and the people go crazy.
And another question, as this is just, we're talking about it. Well, they're talking about it in chat. And I was just kind of like, what the heck? Has there ever been a ring guy before? Obviously, like, there has. Okay, that's super interesting. It's not the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So
there's no equality in that situation. Yeah, it's best not to have it.
Yeah, we were just talking about it in chat. I was like curious, like, what are you saying? Sorry.
So like a little joke or novelty, they've done it. It's not pretty. You don't want to see that. No good.
They're telling me I should be a ring guy. I'm like, you guys need to stop. Honestly, I'll literally get booed off the stage.
You might change the game. You never know.
And then another quick question. My friend Flash is asking, what's your morning routine like? I'm guessing he means like for working out and stuff, or whenever you.
I just do it whenever I can. I don't need to carve out an hour.
Yeah.
I can do a 20-minute, 15-minute workout, twice a day. Sometimes it's fast. You got to do your thing. I like push-ups. I like ab work, core, kind of calisthenic type of stuff is what I really like. Because I can't bring a lot of stuff with me. And I do like weights if I have a good gym at a hotel. I like
Yeah.
the weight. You know,
So
you've seen the we have
yeah,
everything
yeah. I
that I
seen you
want.
on the what do you call the ropes? The ones where
The
you
pure,
the,
yeah, the pure.
the ones
That's
you
like
hang on or whatever. I forgot what you
a
call them.
fully
Mm.
system, like a TRX, a
Yeah,
suspension,
TRX. There you go.
but it's the pure motion of what I
Mm.
use. It's just a. There's so many more uh, variables and levels to it
Yeah,
than just a straight up suspension
yeah.
training. It's wonderful.
So there y'all go. You know, you don't need weights to work out. You could use your body weight. You know, so
Of course.
you know, no excuses. You know, I I speak for myself. You know, I'm like,
Everything is resistance.
Mhm.
Everything resistance. Everything's resistance, and you build strength by
Yeah,
utilizing resistance. You know, whether it's your body weight, whether it's weights,
Mhm.
whatever it is. If it's speed, running, or walking, walking is resistance. Walking
yeah.
is a physical activity, and it's like the thing is, it's like I used to cook. That was my career before this,
You were a cook
and
before. Interesting.
secret to cooking is really apply heat.
Mm.
Apply heat, and you're going to cook something.
Yeah.
Put fire to it. You're going to cook it. Now, the degrees of it, the variations of it is all going to be how you cook it, how it needs to be done. But really, apply heat, and you're going to cook something. Resistance, you're going to build strength. Apply resistance.
Sheesh. There you go. Amazing words from Basil. Um, and then Moki or what's his name in here? Basically, Dead Nation. Okay, Dead Nation was asking, what's in MMA? You already told us the worst cut, but what about in boxing? What's the worst cut that you've ever dealt with? And I'm ready to type it in so I can post it in the chat.
Sergey Derevchenko against Triple G. That was a pretty nasty cut. It was a lot of work from I think the second round to the 12th round. It was tough. And that's what a lot of guys got to remember. MMA is a lot of crazy cuts, but it's a 3 round or 5 round fight. So you're if it's a 3 round fight, it's the end of the first round,
Mm-hmm.
end of the second round. You have 2 rounds that you work
Yeah.
2 minutes. If it's 5 rounds, you got the end of the first round, second round, third round, fourth round, right? If it's a 12 round championship fight and you're cutting the second round or first round, it's 10, 11, 12 minutes of work. You got a lot of time that you have to be on. So those are different. That's the different scenarios, and is there
Mm-hmm.
where you could be takedown.
Yeah.
Like what was the fight? Masvidal against Covington,
The most
right?
recent one? Yeah.
Right. Covington got him to the ground a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
what they say, he stalled him out on the ground, or
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
kind
That he
of.
didn't come to fight, but
But that's part of the game.
mm-hmm.
So it's like he's not crazy. He's not going to trade blows with Masvidal,
Yeah,
right? So that's the thing. Boxing, it's not easy to do that. You have the target is here and the body, and it's basically, man, you get cut here or bruised, like with Edgar Berlanga,
yeah,
pretty cut. But you know what? His opponent, Rolls, he attacked that eye with his jab. He kept punching that eye. So he did the right thing. Trying to keep that thing open, keep attacking it, and try to make it worse. That's the job. That's what he did. It was a very good, experienced move on his part.
yeah. Well, that's good. And no, honestly, everyone, myself included, we really appreciate it and appreciate you telling us this stuff because I mean, I know this a lot of this stuff. Not a lot of it. I'm learning like from the Cutman's perspective, and could you tell everyone in the chat actually how much time you have to do what you got to do in between rounds?
Under 60 seconds.
So y'all, under 60 seconds, Bazzel
Yeah.
has to, clean
50.
up the 50?
50 to 55, because you got to get in.
Yeah.
Then they're always need to get out. But if it's a nasty cut, I'll stay until the very last second.
Mm-hmm.
Before I'm forced out.
50 to 55 and 50 to 55 seconds. If the fighter Bazzel is working with is cut, that's how much time he has to actually take care of that. So just put that into perspective. That's like less than a minute. That's not even a minute. That's insane.
Yeah, you got to move quick, and you got to be ready, and you got to be prepared, and you got to practice your preparation. And a lot of the preparation comes from experience.
Yeah.
So it's have the experience. You got to practice, and you have to that all comes involved in the preparation. So you perform.
Basil, have you I'm just curious, like, have you ever fought yourself? Cause like,
I did.
dude, you're
When
you're in such
started.
good shape, dude. I'm just like, holy shit. Like, I think I don't know if I don't think I've seen pictures of you before, but man, like ever since I met you, you're literally the same shape. You're like,
So when Jack Fisk column
Mhm.
in the Chronicle, he wrote a column every Saturday, and I was 29 years old, and I always liked boxing, always wanted to try it. And ESPN had tournaments. They had champions, ESPN champions. So there was a local fighter from San Francisco named Eric the Prince Martin. He was friends with Jack Fisk. Jack wrote a nice little advertisement for him. Eric was a personal training people in the city. So he put Eric's number. I called the number thinking, you know what? Do it, man. I want to try. So I called Eric. He talked to me. We went and met. And freaking 4 months later, I'm fighting, or 4 or 5 months later, I'm fighting in the Golden Gloves in San Francisco in 1991. And I got killed. I did not do very well at all. And I knew I wasn't a fighter, but I with him, and he was always my trainer. He always considered me his fighter. He knew I wanted to be his inspiration, being a conditioning guy, because that's how we met. He trained just people. That's who inspired me to become a strength and conditioning guy, and using boxing as my vehicle metaphor, the core conditioning, the calisthenic, but towards using the fighting image or the fighting engine as I don't know, it's such a metaphor for life, for everything.
Yeah.
He was such a great inspiration to me, and he was always the biggest cheerleader for me. But he passed away, a few years ago, but he was always, every time he saw me, he was always like, "That's my fighter. He's a great, you got to go see him, man. He's better than me. He's better than I was." Right. I mean, I only had one fight with him. We only fought once, but it was like, and I knew that's not for me, being that fighter. But I think having such great respect for a fighter athlete, because I know how rare it is to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a rare thing. And that's the deal.
That's amazing, Basil. I was just curious because you've been in the fight game for so long. Like, I wonder if he's actually fought too. I was curious, but I did not know that. And
Yeah.
3-4 months of training, and then you jump into Golden Gloves. That's fucking crazy. Like, the best of the best, or Silver Glove, Golden Glove. I forgot which one it was, but yeah.
When we opened Undisputed Boxing Gym, we had Golden State Taekwondo, and there used to be sparring there a lot. So I was sparred there a lot. I learned a lot about boxing from Eddie Croft, from Brian Schwartz. They taught me a lot when I was not competing at all. Yeah. I was in my 40s when we opened up, but was able to spar in the gym a lot with them. Everyone had them. Like Friday night was sparring night. Golden State, the boxers, everybody. So I learned a lot more working in boxing and being around the gym all the time than when I actually trained under Eric and stuff. And I was still cooking too. I was still a cook. I was married. It's a whole nother life away.
You're like, my other life in the past.
Literally life.
I won't take up too much of your time. I know how much busy you are, so let me know when you want to go. Like, I myself can talk for a long time too, but whenever
let's do this again. Let's do it again.
I'd love to, I'd love to, Basil, honestly, and I'd love to get Bruno in here too, honestly. Like, I know I don't know. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Let me know how much time you got left. I just wanted to ask too, like, being undisputed, like, you got to work with a lot of like people, not just in boxing, but a lot of like athletes, right? I think when I went, so I
Yeah.
mentioned Roman before that, like, I go to San Ardo and stuff, and I'm hella cool with Roman and stuff. One time, I think they took him up to Undisputed to spar. No, it wasn't. I think I know. I went to Undisputed and I saw Frank Gore, and then I think
Yeah.
Crawford used to train there too.
I just worked Frank's first professional fight.
You were in that corner. Holy shit!
I don't know. I was with Frank. It was
Yeah,
great. That was that turned out to be an exhibition.
yeah,
There should have never been a declared winner or loser.
yeah.
A split decision. It was a really ugly fight just because
Mhm.
I mean, my God, Darren, I mean, broke every rule in the boxing business, throwing him
Yeah,
down, was down, hitting him on the break. I mean, it was like Frank couldn't get it because Frank is like, wait a minute, you're supposed to break and step back, man. The dude
yeah,
hit me. What is that? He's like, he was shocked that they kept letting Darren get away with all that. It was actually pretty funny.
yeah.
But
Because
he was,
Frank Gore is actually trained, so he's actually
oh,
trained before, so he knows what the fuck is up. So basically, like for him, he was like, "What the fuck? This isn't boxing. Like this is literally like breaking rules."
oh
And
no. Hey, Jordan,
Mhm.
who's the coach for Amanda Serrano, because they were there. Amanda fought.
Mhm.
And Jordan said, he goes, listen, he goes, Frank, man, you're good. I can see that you're going to continue to do this.
Mhm.
But that guy, Darren, he's just a one and done. And he broke every rule there was. He goes,
Yeah,
the referee should have took points away. The referee, they should have called it honestly, it was an exhibition. They should have called it a no contest. Both guys draw, whatever, because it was just silly, But
Mhm.
anyway, and you got to remember, both Darren and Frank, they're almost 20 years in different sports, basketball and football.
Yeah.
Was saying how exhausted they looked. They were tired, but when they went down, like being pushed down, these guys can't get up. Like their knees are shot. they We can, you know what I mean? Football players and basketball players, they've left their bodies on the court in the field years ago. So it's crazy.
No, that's crazy. And honestly, I don't know, Basil. I'll probably let you go. I know it's 7. Like we've already spent an
Yeah.
hour and 30 minutes. Man, I know you've been. It's been a long day for you. You just told me you were working with Charlie Sheehy, who's the
I was with
Olympian that just got signed to Top Rank. So I'd love to do this again. I
do it.
I don't know, Basil. Like this was very. I've never like actually known about your story, and as one of the most popular cutmen in boxing today who actually knows his shit, is passionate about the sport. There's so much to you. Like I don't think we could cover everything in just like one episode, And Dead Nation in the chat is saying that you're awesome. So that
Thank
you are awesome. This is like
you. Appreciate it. I
like
do. That means a lot to me.
and just your story is insane. How you became a cutman. Like I don't even know that. I don't know that. It's just that's crazy. Like you just said, you know what? I'm gonna rise to the occasion. I'm gonna, this isn't.
Oh, I mean, no one would expect me to be
Mhm.
doing this, right?
Yeah.
So it does go back to what my father used to tell me. You can be anything you want in life, if you
Mhm.
just want to do it. If you want something, just go do it, man. Go for it. It's like anything.
Yeah.
What do you know? I'm not a fighter, but I love this game, and I wanted to be involved. But I didn't want to be. I have to be of value. I don't want to be someone that, you know, if I wasn't of value, I don't want to be involved in it. So I became of value. But
Yeah.
hopefully, it continues to be that.
So anyone in chat, before we let Mike Basil go, make sure to check out his socials. Aloha Time Boxing in the Bay Area,
Yep.
fantastic gym. If you guys want to get in shape, you're gonna hate it, but you're gonna love it after you get the results. I think you guys do the fight camp. Like He did a 1 month fight camp. So if anyone's interested to actually like know what it takes to be in a fight camp, like Aloha Time Boxing does it. Bruno Escalante, Arnold, great trainers. Steve, Paul, I know all of them. Shout out to them, But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, please like let us know before we let Bazzel go. He's gave us a lot of time, and we're all super grateful to have you here. And this has been amazing. Actually, you know what? I think I mentioned next week our guest is gonna be Ruben Villa, who's actually gonna be fighting, and he's a local from Monterey County. So I'm super excited to talk to.
I've worked fights.
Yeah.
Several.
He also said like, oh, Bazzel's great, and that's the thing. You have a fantastic reputation in the sport. It's like it's awesome.
Awesome.
Anyone have any more questions? And everyone in chat is saying that you're awesome and you're great.
Wow, that's nice.
You're like, I can't see you guys, but any more questions, y'all? Before we get off, any questions? So this week you head out, right? You're gonna go to
I'll be in Vegas. I got the Top Rank show Saturday on ESPN. And then I go to Triple G. We'll be in Japan on April 9th. And then Ruben fights on the 15th. But I'm going to be, as of it is right now, I'm going to be in England with Chris Van Heerden. He's fighting Conor Ben.
Oh, shit. Conor Ben. That's going to be a crazy fight.
He's a beast. But it's all good.
Yeah.
Chris, and we'll see.
Hey, Bazzel, so do you have any last words for anyone? Like how can people support you on here?
Oh, just be the way you guys are. Nice. And if you want me to, gosh, you're listening to me talk. That's cool. Ask me anything you want, anytime.
Yeah. And like I said, those are Bazzel's socials, You don't know.
And you have a question about something, ask away.
Best trainer. Oh, go ahead.
Awesome.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate all that.
All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna head out. If you're in the chat, please make sure to thank Bazzel. Mike Bazzel, and also, if you're in the Bay Area, oops, wrong one. If you're actually in the Bay Area, Bazzel co-owns Aloha Time Boxing. If you guys want to get your ass kicked and train hard, like you won't literally get your ass kicked because they'll train you first, of course. But if you guys want to get in really good shape, Aloha Time Boxing. Bazzel's Instagram is there. He's always in the corners of the fight. So if you see him on TV, just remember, hey, I seen that guy on the podcast. It's super cool, super humble, super down to earth. So make sure to show him some love on his IG and stuff. My friend Hanoi Princess says that she wants you to be her CIA agent.
Do it
to protect her. But
let's do it.
All right, Bazzel. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll message you to follow up and stuff. I want to ask you some questions, but no, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and end the call. I'm gonna chat with these people more, but thank you so much, Bazzel. Really appreciate your time. Good luck out there.
All right, watch us on Saturday.
All right, thank you, Bazzel. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Sailing with